Why do you think mathematicians named it point slope form? We don't name things for no reason. They're usually named based off of utility or who created it. Point slope is not somebody's name, so it has to be out of utility. What do you think you need to write a point slope equation?
Slope.
And a? Yeah, you literally need a point and a slope to write the equation. All you have to do is plug the stuff in and you're good to go. What letter represents slope? Oh, look, there's an M right there. And then you have a coordinate point, x1 and y1, like we'd been labeling when we did our slope formula. So we are taking the coordinate point and the slope, and we're plugging it into an equation. The first type of question you might see is this first box. We're kind of jump around this page a little bit. If we're given a point and a slope, literally all we have to do is label the stuff and plug it in. M is already labeled for me, so everybody just circle this part right here. M is already labeled, so I know exactly what I'm going to put in on top of the M, or replacing the M. What should I label these 2 points, though, or these 2 numbers? X1 and Y1. So everybody labels X1, Y1. I should see labeling happening on your paper. That is a requirement for every time we write an equation, that you label everything. This says M equals, so I don't have to do any extra labeling. When you're doing this problem, the next thing that you'll do is write down point slope equation, because you're given a point and a slope. Everybody look at your formula chart. What number is point slope form? Number, it literally says point slope form, guys. It's 10. Everybody look at question or equation number 10 on your formula chart. And let's write that down right here. It says y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. That's a requirement for me that you write that down every single time when you're going to write this equation, just like we did with slope the other day. It's not that bad. It's the same number of things as the slope of a line formula. It's just rearranged, actually, which is pretty cool. What do you notice that they plugged in for M? Isn't that what we already had labeled as M? Okay, great. Look at what they plugged in for X1. Isn't that what we had labeled as X1? And look at what they plugged in for Y1. Isn't that already what we labeled as Y1? Great. We're pretty close to being done. This question has an extra simplification because you have this minus a minus. Everybody circle that minus a minus right now. What happens when you have minus a minus? Yeah, it changes to a positive. So we'll have to simplify some of these equations. If you get minus a minus, don't leave it like that, please. I need you to simplify those down to a plus, but that's easy. If you get a minus, you change it to a plus. Here's how you remember it. Watch my screen for a second. Watch what's going to happen. You have minus a minus. Plus. Yeah? Does that make sense? Minus a minus is just a giant plus. I'm going to erase that, though, so you can see my thought process and my work here. Okay, so this right here, once you have it simplified, you're done. This is what our answers today should look like. They should look like they're in point slope form. Y minus y1 equal to, did I say that right? Yeah. Y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. That's our answer. That's our equation for today. What are some things you maybe notice about this equation?
So that's how you solve it?
That's it. If it asks you to write an equation in point slope form, I'm done. I've literally done that. That's it.
All you're doing is just putting your coordinates.
Literally all you're doing is putting your coordinates in, yeah. Algebra's easy. Okay. Well, let's prove to ourselves that algebra is easy. I'll leave my question at B right now. Let's try an example 1 together. It says to write an equation of a line in point slope form. Everybody highlight that or circle star, underline it. Point slope form. That's what we just learned about. With the given information. Number 1, what did they give me? They gave me a point and a slope. Okay, great. If they give me a point and a slope, I should probably use point slope form, which is what we want to do today. First thing I do is label everything. What do I put? Oh, okay, yeah, x1, y1. So 2 that's x1. And 7 is y1. And what is this negative 3?
That's the slope.
That's the slope. So we're going to put an m next to it. That's fine. You can put it above it. You could have put a equals m on here. It's fine. The next thing I'm requiring you to do after you label everything is write down the equation. So you look at number 10 on your formula chart. You say y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. Phew, wrote it down. Then we just plug our stuff in. We are plugging in the y1. What's y1?
7.
Equal to m. What's the m?
3.
Negative 3, but yeah. X minus x1. What's x1?
2.
2. Do I need to simplify anything here? Do I have minus a minus?
No.
I'm done.
That's
it. You did it. You wrote an equation in point slope form. You have followed instructions. What I asked you to do, right? Write an equation in point slope form. Done.
It's easiest.
The only thing that can happen after this is if you have an extra step of simplifying the minus a minus. How do we feel?
It's pretty good.
Pretty good enough to do 2, 3, and 4?
Absolutely.
Okay, 2, 3, and 4. You got it.
Can you do 3, please?
No, you got it. I want you to try it first. If you need help, I'll come get you. So let's go over example 2. Example 2. Let's go with David. David, what should I label this as? X1, Y1. Great. And then Alex, what is this number?
M.
M. Thank you. Cool. All right. So then if I'm given a point and a slope, then I should fill out point slope form. Y minus Y1 equal to M times X minus X1. And I plug in exactly what I know, which is that Y1 is 1. M is 1/2. And X1 is negative 9. Okay?
So you can't do it.
So minus a minus, I need to simplify. What happens when I simplify minus a minus? So I should have boxed as my final answer. Y minus 1 equal to 1/2 x plus 9. If you went ahead and just changed the version that you wrote first and did something like this, that's fine. If you want to write it all again so you show me all of your work, I prefer that. Both are acceptable. What are your questions about this one? Because I did see some things that were backwards for people. Most things that I saw that were backwards were that you plugged in, you labeled this right, but then you plugged in X where the Y goes. That's why we label it. Please plug it in where it belongs. Number 3. Chris, what do I label this as? X1, Y1. And then Nicia, what do I label this as? M, because that's my slope. Very cool. All right. Given a point and a slope, I'm going to fill in point slope form. So I look at number 10 on my formula chart. Y minus Y1 equal to M times X minus X1. And then I fill in what I know and what I have labeled. I almost listened to you and put 1/2. Negative 3 over 2 X minus X1.
Wait, no, wait, what?
I have something to simplify though, right?
You put the number 1 first.
Y plus 1.
Wait,
Oh,
no. Wait,
we're on number 3.
No, you're right.
What do I need to simplify here?
Yes.
Minus a minus should be positive. So this should be Y plus 1 equal to negative 3 over 2 times X minus 3.
Wait, do we have to?
Can I just put the 1?
You gotta do both of them?
No, for me, you do not have to. The things I'm requiring is that it's labeled and that I see the original equation. If you just automatically switch it, I'm okay with that. I like this way, though, so I can see your whole thinking. But I'm requiring the labeling and the equation. The way you plug it in is up to you. Yes, sir. Then let's do example 4. Glenn, what am I going to label negative 4, comma, negative 2? X1 and Y1. Thank you.
Yeah, wait till Chris.
And what class am I going to label this number?
M.
I'm glad class is one voice. Thank you, Alex. Since I'm given a point and a slope, I'm going to fill out point-slope form. So here's my two requirements, that I see the labeling and I see the equation. Then I'm just going to plug in what I know. Y minus negative 2 equal to 5 times x minus negative 4, which, yes, you guys are correct. Both of those can become big plus signs. Is that the way y'all are going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll write my answer like you. Except that this should be green. Okay. How do we feel about these 4 problems?
Amazing.
Amazing. So here's the deal. I gave you a point and a slope, and you wrote a point-slope equation. Very simple. Here's the other thing that could happen. Scroll it back up to the top of your page. What if I only give you 2 coordinate points? What did we spend all last class period doing with 2? Absolutely. If we have 2 coordinates, number 1, we label them. Here's the first x and y. Here's the second x and y. If I have all of those things, the equation, whoa, wrong thing. The equation for the slope of a line, which is what I'm missing, I need the slope to write point slope. I have points, I just need a slope. Is right there on our formula chart. What number is this one?
11.
We look at number 11 on our formula chart and we fill it in. Literally fill it in and we get our slope, right? We'd find out that whatever the slope is, that becomes my m. And I've already labeled everything. Because if you notice, now I have a slope and a point. So I can fill in y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1, because literally we found the slope and they gave me x1 and y1. Then I just do the quick simplification and I'm good to go. So when I give you different information, you have to do different things. You always need a slope and a point. So if I don't give you the slope, you have to find it. Let's do an example problem together, then I have one for you to try. Go to example number 5 on your notes. I still want you to write an equation in point-slope form, which means you need a point and a slope. What are you missing?
Slope.
Yeah, we're missing a slope because they just gave me 2 points. So the first thing, I know someone said, you got to label first. You're right. Okay, so let's label everything. Angel, help me label. What do I label the 6?
X1.
And the 1?
Y1.
And then the negative 3?
X2.
And then the 10?
Y2.
Okay, great. So I have all the things labeled. I know that to find the slope, I'm going to use equation number 11. So I write down equation number 11, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Then I can just fill that in. This is what we did earlier today. This is what we did on our quiz. This is what we did last class. So we did like all last month, finding the rise and the run. So this is going to be 10 minus 1 over what?
Negative 3 subtract 6.
Very cool. Negative 3 subtract 6. Can you guys throw that into Desmos for me real quick and help me know what the slope is? Negative 9 over 9, which reduces to? Is it negative 1 or 1?
You simplify it.
Huh?
You simplify it.
You simplify it, yeah.
I might have failed the test. I'm like, I did not simplify it.
Yeah, you simplify the slopes. They're not wrong if they're not simplified, but you won't see any answer choices that are not simplified. Okay, now, here's the thing. I have a slope. That's m. I have a point. We already labeled it. If I have a slope and a point, I can fill out point-slope form. So we write down point-slope form. Y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. Exactly as it's written on my formula chart. Exactly as it's written on my formula chart. And then it's just like the other questions. So sometimes you have to do a little extra at the beginning, but like the ending is still the same. This is going to be y minus what? What did we label as y1? 1 equal to m. What's m?
-1.
-1. We just found that. Cool. Times x minus x1. What is that? 6. Boom. Do I need to simplify anything? Nope. I'm good to go. Now, I do want to point something out about this question. If this were on a test, here's what the actual answer printed on the test would look like. What did I change and why is the 1? Do we have to show the 1?
No.
No, we can let it be invisible. You're totally fine showing me the 1, but if we're ever typing it in somewhere or you're ever looking on a multiple choice test, the 1 will not be there. It's invisible. All right, my friends, you have number 6. So I see some of you are already done with it. That's great. Thank you. But everybody else, let's get through number 6. Okay, here's what I'm seeing around the classroom.
So you have to.
Let's see. If we're given 2 points, to write a point slope form, I have points, I need the slope. But like we have a whole equation for that, so like no big deal.
So you gotta do that equation.
You gotta label.
So we're combining what we did last time with what we're doing this time. We start off by labeling everything. x1, y1, x2, y2. And then we know our slope of a line formula, number 11. We must write it down. That's a requirement. Plug everything in. This is going to be 10 minus 5, 2 minus -2. When we plug that into Desmos, our brain, or our calculator, we'd get 5 over 4. That's my slope. 1.25 if you made it a decimal, but please make it a fraction. And then we fill out point slope form, because now I have a point and a slope. This is going to be y minus y1, which we labeled 5. M, which we just found, which is 5/4. X minus x1, and x1 we labeled -2. And then to simplify, what do I do? Change the whole thing into a positive. Let me make sure I actually hit it right. Boom. There's my point slope form of this equation. On the back here, the top 2 problems, it's still asking me to find the point slope form equation, to write an equation in point slope form. But what did they give me this time? A table, which means, what did they really give me? Just points. This is just like questions number 5 and 6 because they're giving me points. What do I do first? Label some stuff. This is x1, x2. This is y1, y2. And if I have coordinate points, what can I find? Slope of a line, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Yeah, we got to plug all those numbers in. So y2 we labeled as -30. We're going to subtract -156. Thank you. Then we're going to have -13. We're going to subtract -22. Someone help me out. Calculate that for me. Yeah, thank you. We should get 14.
I don't know how I got you.
There's my slope. So now I have a coordinate point that we already labeled, and I have a slope. If I have a slope and a point, I can write point slope form. So literally just like the front side, I write down the original equation. I've labeled everything, and I just plug stuff in where it goes. This is going to be y minus -156, yeah.
Equals 14 x minus -22.
Yeah, y'all are doing my whole job for me. Thank you. So after we fill it all in, we change the negatives to a positive. And voila, there's point slope form. Now make sure you actually change the negative to a positive, and if your handwriting is not neat enough for that to happen, you just write it for me again, because if I see a negative, it's a negative number. And if you meant to make it positive, don't let it be negative. Does that make sense? Have good handwriting. Number 8 is for you. Y'all go ahead and give number 8 a try. We still have a table of values. I still want an equation in point slope form. Okay, that should have been enough time to try number 8.
No.
So we're writing our answer in point slope form. So the first thing I do is label what I have. I'm so sorry, I'm sitting right in front of you. X1, X2, Y1, Y2. I'm not used to somebody sitting at that desk.
M equals y2 minus y1.
Oh, thank you.
x2 minus x1.
Since I'm given 2 points, I can find the slope of a line between 2 points with this formula, which means I'm doing 9 minus 24 over,
2.
Minus -7.
and when you throw that into a calculator or your brain, you'd get -3. And at this point, I now have a point
So it's y
and a slope. We write down our equation in point slope form. Y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. Yes, you must write it down every time. When we substitute our stuff in, this is going to be y minus 24.
Equals -3. X plus, or not minus -7.
is plus
And then you simplify.
Cool. So x minus -7, and then minus a minus is plus. Voila. We're good. What are our questions? What are our comments? What are our concerns? I'm going to pause right here. You have to ask me at least one question. Okie dokie. Thank you for your questions, everybody. Let's look at examples 9 and 10. I still want you to write a point slope form of an equation, which means I need a coordinate point and I need a slope. But what did I give you this time? A graph. Can we find a point and a slope on a graph?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the slope. How do I find slope from a graph? Everybody write m equals rise over run on their paper. Is this graph going to go uphill or downhill?
No.
Uphill, because it's like literally going up. So let's make sure our number is positive. How did we do rise over run?
Go up to the right.
True, but what did I do before I went up and to the right? What do I have to find on the graph?
Point.
X and y.
2 good points. Here's a good point, and here's a good point. You could have picked 2 different good points for me, but those are my 2 good points. How much did I go up?
Rise over run.
2 times. Is my scale okay? Am I actually going up 2?
Yes.
Okay, good. How much do I run?
Over 1.
1. Is the scale 1?
Yes.
Okay, so my slope is 2 over 1, which is just 2. Okay, I have a slope. What else do I need to write a point slope form?
You need 2, you need 4,
Well, okay,
You need
listen.
X1,
I do. There it is. I need x1, y1. If I want to write a point slope form, I have the slope. I need a point. It does not matter what point you pick as long as it is a good point. I suggest, and Ms. Jackson suggests, that you always look to pick one of your intercepts because those numbers are pretty easy to spot. Let's go with this one right here. What's the coordinate of this intercept? 0,7. Is that my x or my y intercept?
Y.
Thank you, y intercept. So I have a coordinate. I have x1 and y1, which means now I can fill this equation out.
Wait, do we go to the bottom though? We get that negative.
Say, what do you mean?
Wait, so the negative.
If you pick a number down here, is that what you're asking?
No, it's about
How
don't
come
need
you
2.
didn't how come
This
you didn't
2?
Yeah, like
This is our slope.
And then that's our coordinates. Don't we need x2 and y2?
Oh, no, x2 and y2 were used to find the slope. Did we ever plug an x2 and y2 into the green equation?
No.
We only plugged x1, y1. But you get to pick what x1 and y1 are off of a graph.
Wait, so how do you know which one is X1 and Y1? Like this one, what's it called?
It is a point that you choose.
I could have picked this point right here. It would have been a different x1, y1, but it would have been the same equation eventually.
No, I'm talking about like when like it's, the one is like the point that's intersecting the X.
The y-axis? Yeah.
Y-axis and X.
It doesn't matter. I just always pick the y-intercept because that's my habit. It can be any point.
But we will need you to label it so that we know that when you're putting it in your equation, that you're putting in the appropriate one.
So you can just choose it.
Uh-huh.
Would it be like
Can it be like, you know, where like it crosses like the line? Can it be there?
Will there be
Like
a
this one? What you mean?
So is it
What
y?
do you mean? Like this this one?
Yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
This one's not a good point because it goes through the center of your box.
So it has to be a good point.
Absolutely.
That's a great question.
It does have to be a good point. What's up? Thank you for your really good questions. Y'all try number 10, please. Okay, so I'm going to pull you back. I know most of you aren't done, but I think I confused you a little bit. So let me clarify on number 10. In number 10, if we're writing a point-slope form of an equation, we need a point and we need a slope. We find slope from a graph by finding rise over run. So to find rise over run, you find 2 good points. Is this right here a good point?
No.
No. Okay, great. It's trash. Okay. We need it to cross at a corner like this. This is a good point. And this. That's a good point. How much did I have to go up or down to get from one level to the next? How much did I have to go up or down? Guys, count.
Out loud.
1. Did I go up or down 1? Down 1. So to show me I went down is going to be a negative 1. And then how much did I go to the side to get to the other point? 3. Can I reduce the fraction negative 1 over 3?
Yes. Wait, no.
Nah, so there we go. I have my slope. I know what I'm plugging in for m. But I also need a point. You can choose any point as long as it is a good point.
I did this one. I did -4. Or -4 as the x and 3 as the y.
Okay, I'll take his suggestion. He used this point, -4, 3. Do you see how that's a good point? This is going to be x1 and y1, which means now I have enough information to plug into y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. If you picked a different point, that's okay. Our point-slope equations might be different, but our graphs are exactly the same, because if we read the graph correctly, we're fine. This is going to be y minus 3 equal to -1/3
Ah, I did it backwards.
x minus 4
I did y plus
minus
4.
-4. Sorry, I didn't say it out loud, right?
Huh?
I just talking to myself. But then minus a minus, it's really just going to be +4.
I did it backwards. I put the +4.
Oh, yeah. That's why you label stuff. Okay. If you picked a different point, your numbers might be different, and that's okay. That's okay. All right. So the last little bit of this is a challenge question. I'm not going to go over it out loud, but if you want to give it a shot, you'll need to be finding the slopes and the points in each of these equations to see if it matches up with the information in the graph. There are 2 correct answers. You and your partner are going to work through to find the 2 correct answers, and in a little bit I'll show you what the correct answers are, but we're not working through this one all together. You're working with your partners. When you finish, I'll hand you your homework.